In this video, we'll be talking about all of Jobin.cloud's available sourcing options. There are quite a few, and you can find them all listed here on the left panel. In case you have the left panel minimized, then you won't see the titles, but you'll still be able to hover over it. And from the sourcing menu, you can easily select whichever of these sourcing methods you'd like to utilize. Since there's multiple sourcing options at your disposal, make sure to check out the timestamps at the bottom of the video so that you can easily skip straight to the sourcing options that you're interested in covering more in detail. If you already have a repository or a data list that you would like to import from a CSV import, then there is a dedicated video for that you can find from the informational button that's appearing at the top right of the screen right now. That aside, I'd recommend starting off with the LinkedIn import option. This page gives us a proper documentation on all the sourcing methods on LinkedIn that we can utilize. But to summarize things, there's basically two types of import methods, an individual import and a bulk import. You can in fact import any profile that you've specifically opened, and you can do so both automatically or on click. And you can also import from any bulk listing that you have opened, which can either be a search, a group, an event, a post, and you can even import from company searches to add them to your accounts page instead of adding them to the contacts page, where we can get more into detail about accounts later on. All these imports are compatible with both the standard LinkedIn, Sales Navigator, and LinkedIn Recruiter. This also means that if you're using Sales Navigator, you can import from your saved Sales Navigator leads and Sales Navigator accounts. And if you're using LinkedIn Recruiter, you can import from your Recruiter pipelines. There's even at the very top a handy shortcut to import all your first connections. So if you already have a nice network and you want to start more efficiently making use of that network, simply press the first connection import button and you'll be prompted to begin importing them. The entire process will be automated for you, so you'll just end up having all your first connections nicely added into your contact list. But that aside, let's see how we can import new contacts that we haven't already added into our repository. We can both press either on these buttons directly, but all it actually takes is to just head over to LinkedIn. So let's do just that. All it takes to import someone from LinkedIn is to simply press on your Jobin extension, found at the very top right of your browser. If you don't have it visible directly from this interface, you can press on the jigsaw puzzle icon. This will show all the extensions you currently have installed, and you can also automatically find a pin icon so that they become more easily accessible at the very top of your browser at all times. With that said, to import someone, simply open either the listing or the profile that you want to extract from. If we open, for example, James, if I want to add James into my contact list, all I need to do is simply open his profile and press the Jobin extension. With that done, Jobin will automatically extract his profile and any available contact details. In James' case, we already had a few that I'll be censoring for privacy reasons. From this interface, we can then also directly start interacting with data about them. And this is a two-way synchronization. So if I, for example, assign James into a job pipeline, say for example our Java developer pipeline, we can do so directly from the extension. And if I at any time were to close this menu and open it again, accordingly, since James is already in our Jobin repository, instead of re-importing them again, it instead shows us their profile and all the details we've added about them. It also shows us an event timeline of what's been going on with James in particular. In fact, if I open this, I can see a handy event timeline of when I've imported them and also that I've now assigned them to my Java developer job. Any other interaction I have with James will also be tracked, but we'll go more into detail on that on a different video. More in detail on the individual extractions, if I don't want to each time simply press the extension and extract a profile, I can even do so seamlessly. This can be done by heading over to your settings page at the top right. From here, you can find an option to auto-import profiles. What this does is that without even having to click anything on the extension, by enabling this, simply by viewing a profile, they will automatically be added to my contact list. So if you like browsing through LinkedIn and you want to add anyone you've looked at automatically into the repository, simply enable that and start browsing. I can in fact say open Maggie's profile. Without needing to press the Jobin extension or doing anything whatsoever, I can straight away head back to my Jobin page, and as soon as I refresh my contact list, I can find both James with the assigned job pipeline that we've given them, and also Maggie that has been automatically imported for us. But aside from individual imports, same exact concept applies to bulk extractions as well. Instead of opening a profile that catches our interest, we can simply open a list of profiles that catches our interest. This can either be, as mentioned, groups, events, posts, or of course searches. So let's go ahead and run a search. You can extract from any type of LinkedIn search, so this goes for both standard LinkedIn, Sales Navigator, or Recruiter. You can customize all the filters to find exactly which type of listing you are most interested in, and once you have a nice listing that you want to add to your contact list, simply press the Jobin extension and a according bulk import interface will open for you. By default, 100 will already be added as the desired extractable amount, but you can customize this and set whatever number you want. Anything that LinkedIn loads into the list will be extractable. And directly from the bulk import, we can also assign job pipelines, tags, and annotations as well. So let's go right ahead and add all these 100 Java developers into our Java developer job pipeline. With that done, all it takes is to just press the Start Import button and the extraction process will automatically begin for us. As soon as this finishes, we'll automatically be redirected to our contacts page, where we can then actually view and interact with everyone we've added into our repository. Once the first phase completes, this is the current first phase. We can in fact see that the newly imported profiles have been added to our listing, but haven't been fully imported yet. This is because additional details like their entire job histories, their companies, company sizes, skills, and extra info is still to be added. But we already have all the necessary information to actually start interacting with them. So if I wanted to, I can just select them and start running an operation. But let's go more in detail on that on a later video. The full profile import that will then finish adding all the necessary information for every profile so that they become a stable asset to our database will automatically run in the background for us. And we can also monitor how it's proceeding by heading over to our operations monitor page. The notification number shows how many operations we currently have either completed or queued. If we in fact open this, we can find the completed status of both the import for James and Maggie and their respective timestamps, and also the queued full profile import that has now automatically just started this very second. As we can see, Daniel Britton has just been fully imported. In fact, their company information has been added as well. I can directly press on Daniel Britton and this will show us everything about their profile, their summaries, professional experiences, job descriptions, educations, accomplishments, skills, and well, basically anything they specified on their LinkedIn account. This can also include if they're open to work and the various job seeking status information about the job that they're looking for. We can browse through all these details by using the various buttons on our profile manager page, but as to not overcomplicate things, let's go more in detail on that on a later video. Let's focus on simply importing and filling up our database. If I head back to my contact list, I can also see that Jobin has automatically already activated my Java developer filter and is specifically looking for everyone that is currently assigned. This is because since we've already added these profiles into a job when we've imported them, Jobin will automatically apply that job as a filter so that we can easily see exactly everyone that we've just imported in the recent operation instead of seeing our entire database. That's basically all it takes to import someone from a LinkedIn listing. Simply open either the profiles or the lists you're interested in, press the extension and define what data you want to add to them. And that's basically it. All the rest is then done automatically for you. With the LinkedIn import and the general basics complete, let's switch over to the other sourcing options. Starting with the People Finder. The People Finder is a built-in Jobin.cloud data repository, basically meaning that rather than having to use other websites like LinkedIn to search and find contacts of interest, you can directly find those profiles within a built-in Jobin.cloud search. The reason I've mentioned the LinkedIn import before the People Finder is because the People Finder comes with a premium, meaning that unlike the LinkedIn import, which is fully free, the People Finder does require a People Finder credit to find the contacts that are fitting your desired searches. On to actually how to operate the People Finder, it's basically a filter with the same format of the standard Jobin.cloud contact list filters, meaning that you can directly write a keyword for the role that you're looking for, and depending on your preference, you could also use Boolean strings. More filter options are at your disposal from the All Filters menu. Since these filters are the same as those from the Jobin.cloud filters interface, you can also make use of some additional commands that Jobin provides. like for example the built-in AI semantic search function, which, as the name implies, looks for similar keywords based on the reference keyword provided. Simply press on the blue magnifying glass icon under the reference keyword, and Jobin.cloud will have AI automatically generate a series of semantically similar keywords for you. So you can very easily extend your search without having to spend too much time having to write each variation yourself. And you can of course also further fine-tune it. So if any keyword is, for example, not relevant enough to you, for example, let's say web developer is too generic, I can easily remove that keyword and of course further fine-tune the filter. Once a filter is defined, simply press on the click here button on the right, and this will then launch the People Finder search. The People Finder has a built-in real-time data synchronization, so any profile it finds will effectively be enriched with their latest information to make sure that you always have relevant and up-to-date information provided to you. And just like that, the profile is displayed to you, and this is when the People Finder credit is spent. And of course, you can then import that profile as well. You can either import individually or in bulk. But before importing, we can use the menu here on the left to preemptively define the destination pipelines or any tags we want to assign. So I can, for example, say that the profiles that I want to import from my People Finder should be automatically added to my Java developer job, and I can also choose to assign them a tag, like for example, call as soon as possible. With that done, if I were to press import, this automatically adds the profile into my repository, and for easy access, I can simply press open this profile, and that will automatically redirect me over to their instance within my Jobin.cloud repository. And the profile is now, of course, in my Jobin contact list. The People Finder will remember your search, so you can continue your sourcing efforts from where you left off. The import option also contains a function to enrich profiles with contact info, which you can enable or disable here at the top right. Enriching with contact info will also automatically utilize the contact finder's enrichment credit, which, as the name implies, enriches the profile with additional social media links, like for example in David's case, which enriched them with both Facebook and GitHub URLs, as well as contact information, which has now been automatically added into the profile for me. Switching over to the X-ray and site search sourcing options, both of these will automatically mirror your current Jobin.cloud filter, which also includes in case our filter was a Boolean string. So let's say we're filtering for Java developer and software engineer keywords, and without having to rewrite them ourselves, or we can also use the semantic keyword search function as mentioned earlier. We can directly switch over to the X-ray search, and that exact filter will automatically be translated over into a Boolean string for us, which is then compatible with the X-ray search function. To give some more context, the X-ray search allows you to target any specific website of your choosing. By default, the LinkedIn website is the main target, but there's multiple categories divided into the types of profiles that you're likely to find within each website, so you can more effectively find the profiles that are most suitable to you. Focusing on the top profile repositories, which contain a bit of every type of industry, we can further fine-tune the Boolean string either by customizing it directly from the bar here, or we can easily add filters using this facilitated graphical interface. There are also more advanced operators, for example, specific, unique to Google X-ray string functionalities, like proximity searches in title, in URL, and other types of functions. If you'd like to learn more about the unique Google Boolean string operators, then you can find a dedicated blog over here by pressing this link under the question mark note. Once a keyword is set, all it takes is to select if it should be either a Google or Bing X-ray, and then press start. From here, we can see a series of search results that are matching my desired Boolean string and are of course all targeted towards LinkedIn. The main advantages of using a X-ray search is that the search criteria you're running, rather than using the search criteria from the internal website, will instead use those of a Google X-ray Boolean string. This both comes with its own pros and cons, because the X-ray string might be more generic, but the pro is also that it is not limited by the internal website search. Meaning that, for example, in LinkedIn's case, any search results that are appearing will not be limited to my network. So in fact, you can notice that with this relatively generic search, I have 34 million results, which is probably tenfold the number of results that I would be receiving had I written this search over on LinkedIn. Reason being that LinkedIn would only allow my search criteria to apply within my own network's reach. So just once again to reiterate, the X-ray has both a more potentially generic search because it's primarily keyword centric and doesn't necessarily have specific filters, but the advantage is that it's also not limited by any actual search limitations that the website would impose on you. Once you have the results that you would like to import, once again simply press the Jobin extension at the top right and you'll be able to import all the visible results. In the case of a Google search, only 10 results will appear at a time, so if you want to load more, continue to press this Show More button, which will then make more URLs appear, which you can then also automatically import. Worth noting that this import option allows you to extract LinkedIn URLs from any website whatsoever, so it's not necessarily limited to the Google X-ray search. This means that even if you're just browsing a website or any page that you happen to be on, and a LinkedIn URL happens to be in that page, then simply press the Jobin extension and Jobin will automatically detect it and allow you to import it automatically. You can also select specifically which URL or profile you want to import from this menu here. But that aside, if you press import all, that's all it takes, and Jobin has now automatically launched over in my Jobin operations monitor a X-ray search import, which if I were to run right away, I can see that it's now gradually importing each of the profiles in full for me. Similarly to the Google X-ray search, if I were to now switch over to the site search, this will do the same mirroring of the current search that I happen to have active, but rather than using a search engine like Google or Bing, I'm instead focusing at targeting a specific internal website search. This comes with its own advantages because it's the internal to the website search, so you can be more specific with the filters, because you can use their own built-in filter criteria, but it also comes with some downsides because you'll be forced to abide by any limitation that website were to impose on you. So for example, if I were to use this same exact search and apply it on LinkedIn, this will automatically open that exact same Boolean string over on my LinkedIn search page. But as you can see, rather than the 34 million results that I had from the X-ray, I instead only have 8 million. Now, of course, this is a very generic search, so I have a very large abundance of search results. So my main recommendation is to use the X-ray for the exceptionally hard and niche types of criteria you're looking for, where in the case of a LinkedIn search, you'd end up having too few results to properly be able to work with, and that's where the X-ray comes into play. So if you were to run that same search over on the X-ray, you'd have many more results. That about covers the various sourcing options at your disposal. All of these will of course automatically in the background now download those profiles for me. So besides running the search criteria, I simply have to press a single button for each profile to be fully imported and added into my repository.